started up. Such is life. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Week 11 Swolecast here on FantasyInsiders.com. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but in fairness, we're still 12 minutes early, technically. So that's good. Just to recap, yes, I had a good week last week. Evan already apologized. We told him it wasn't necessary. And as a discount for you, the user, I'll apologize for making this a short and late show. Use promo code PLATINUM. Go to fantasyinsiders.com/plans. Use promo code PLATINUM and you get $20 off your first month or an annual purchase. Because no one wants to listen to me. You just want to get in the chat where you can bug and annoy Davis. That's what it's all about. All right, let's get on to Week 11. Deep breaths. Gronkowski not going to play. We kind of knew that. I talked to a doctor on SiriusXM this week. He said that he thinks there still might be something with their lungs because, you can't fly if they're worried about, having a puncture.
Yeah, he's already ruled out.
Right, in your lungs. So he didn't make the flight. He's not going to play. Let's talk about this game, Evan. Is it Brady week 2, or you want to go on the opposite side and go cap and cash this week?
Yeah, just to reiterate, I just sucked so bad last week, and I'm sorry. We don't do this show for me to suck. So apologies. I think they come out throwing it. I don't think that it's going to be a ground and pound LeGarrette Blount game. I think that it can turn into that, but I think they come out throwing it. There are a lot of narratives. First of all, you can do whatever you want against the 49ers defense. Everybody except for the Todd Gurley, and the Cardinals, whose offensive line is toast right now and whose quarterback is washed up, has been pretty much been able to do whatever they want. But they're bad against big wide receivers. They're not very good against tight ends. They've given up a ton of fantasy production all year to quarterbacks. We know that they get smashed by running backs. So, I don't think that there's – I think we're going to see Tom Brady come out throwing the ball, and then eventually it will turn into a LeGarrette Blount game. That's typically what the Patriots do against inferior opponents. They come out, they play fast, and they score a lot of points, and then they put the ball in LeGarrette Blount's belly.
Tuttle, you think this is a Blount game?
No, I love Tom Brady in GPPs. I think he's a tough ask for cash just because of his price tag and kind of how roster construction works out. But the two guys, elite quarterbacks I'm looking at this week in GPP are paying up for our Big Ben and then Tom Brady. And Ben's got a little weather concern right now in Cleveland. If it turns out where winds seem to be sustained on Sunday in Cleveland, then I'll probably pivot over to Tom Brady as my main GPP quarterback.
Davis?
Definitely not Brady for me. I'm just going to go cheap, guys, and then play Mariota on FanDuel. The total's 52. Mariota runs every week, and he's just smashing. The Colts are the worst. But on DraftKings, I don't see any way you can play a guy in cash who's more than 6,000 probably on DraftKings with the way roster construction is going.
Yeah, I don't mind playing Kaepernick if you need to.
Yeah, I think Kaepernick's fine. He's chalk though, so he could just be terrible because people are finally playing him. Todd Gurley and Colin Kaepernick are averaging the same amount of rushing yards per game this year. Fun little fact for those who want to play Todd Gurley.
We have some contributors that are wanting to play Todd Gurley.
I know, they're fish. I tried to tell everybody.
Gurley is in play on DraftKings for $5.
No, he's not. He
is.
Silva, break the tie.
On Gurley?
Yeah.
I just play Frank Gore. He gives you more upside.
No.
Yeah, he can at least fall into the end zone twice.
We're in week 11 now. Do you think it's suddenly going to pop now after 10 weeks for Todd Gurley? The quarterback, I really like Kirk Cousins. I thought that Mariota was the best per dollar play. Of course, then I went all in on Brady. But I thought that Mariota was the best per dollar play at quarterback last week. And I think that Kirk Cousins is this week's Mariota. I also really like Andrew Luck. I mean, that game has shootout potential written all over it. And when these teams played in Week 7, Andrew Luck was the number 7 overall. I'm sorry, he was the number 1 overall fantasy quarterback. And each of the last 5 quarterbacks to face the Titans has been a top 12 fantasy quarterback. So I don't know. I mean, are people not going to be on Luck this week? He's got his offensive line healthy and his receiver core healthy.
He's currently my cash game quarterback on FanDuel.
There you go. All right, I dig it.
Yeah, him and Mariota both, I think, are the options on FanDuel where you're not really stressing about pricing that much. I just don't think you can get to either one of them on DraftKings. But yeah, I'm not. I know it's a great matchup for Brady, and they're going to run more plays, and he could easily have 303. But I feel better about Luck getting to 303 than Brady. Like, which is not to say Brady's a bad play. I just don't see the need to jam him in.
Brady's not going to have garbage time. Andrew Luck is. There you go.
Yeah, Blunt scores like twice this week, probably.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any more Blunt scores. That was so tilting. Let's start.
Brady, he averaged 10 yards per attempt in that game. I mean, if they would have thrown 50 times like they should have, instead of averaging 2 yards per carry with Blunt runs into the teeth of the Seahawks defense, Brady throws for 500. I mean, he should have.
Yeah, we have where CJ Procise in that game, they split it up. They split him out wide. They ran a bunch of empty sets with them. And since that was a Sunday night game, the pricing wasn't adjusted correctly because the pricing for the week comes out before the primetime games on Sunday and Monday night. So with that being said, Procise is a lock for me on FanDuel and DraftKings, and he kind of affects roster construction.
No, not on FanDuel, David. Stop.
4,900 on FanDuel, man.
I wouldn't say lock, but I mean,
I said for me though. I said he's a lock for me.
Well, yeah, he's personalizing this, Davis.
Yes. I didn't say he's got to be a lock for you.
I want you to finish better than 34th in the DFAC, buddy.
Hey.
I mean, it's a better play than Bryce Petty. We'll
it is a better play than Bryce Petty. If you don't want to play CJ Trust the Procise on FanDuel, then that's fine. But you also didn't want to play Mariota last week on DraftKings, Davis. So,
that is in no way true.
Well, this is a forward-thinking show. This is a forward-thinking show. No, we got to move on.
Don't lie, though, David.
We've got to move on.
Okay. Can we make a DraftKings lineup?
We got to make a DraftKings lineup.
Can I get it before we do DraftKings lineup? I want a quick Silva take on Procise's involvement in the passing game, because I think that was a bit of an outlier from what we'll see going forward. But I kind of want your take on how many receptions you think or targets he gets this week.
9.
There's never been a running back in Seattle that has been used like that.
Right.
The offense has changed. The offense is different now. It's a shotgun spread offense, and CJ Procise is one of their weapons. And I would expect him to get, no fewer than 5 targets. I think it would be a disappointment if he got 4 or 5 targets at this point.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're projecting him for, I think obviously you're playing him on DraftKings, and then he's a very, very good fan.
I mean, he's a route running back. He's not just like a check down. He's not just a check. Like they're using him as like a weapon.
Yeah, he's a lock on both sides. They're using him in empty sets. I mean, if you looked at that Cosell breakdown, like they're rolling him out wide using an empty backfield and matching him up against linebackers.
Right. Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell style.
Davis, go ahead. Make that face, bro. If you don't play Procise on FanDuel in your cash games, you are a fish. Go ahead and say it right now. Mark the timestamp.
I'm just going to take my 25 from DeMarco Murray and move on.
Oh, cool.
Probably.
Oh, cool. You want to play the guy? You're a week late on DeMarco Murray.
Oh.
2 weeks
late. Don't the Titans have the second highest team total of the week?
Yeah, no, he is a good play. His toe is enough for get me off on him on FanDuel. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's do the DraftKings lineup. And Silva, you go ahead and start.
Spencer Ware.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like that play.
All right. Tuttle.
I'm going to go back with Mike Evans in the same game.
Yes.
Yeah.
I shouldn't act excited.
Yeah. Marcus Peters.
I love Evans this week.
Yeah, and Marcus Peters didn't. It sucks because I liked him too, and it sucks because the Marcus Peters news came out where he didn't practice for a third day in a row, so people are going to be all up on him again. But there might be some recency bias where people.
Yeah, I'm hoping recency bias plays out a little bit here.
All right, we need some cheap guys.
Yeah, well, we already are going a little bit off the beaten path since we have Ware, so I feel fine taking the super chalk at tight end with Martellus Bennett.
Nice.
Strong
start here.
And I also feel okay about taking CJ Procise if you fade him on either site. I mean, he's just a free square. He's a lock.
All right.
Go ahead, Silva.
Okay. I gotta bring it here. Let's go with. Can we run Kirk, Captain Kirk on Sunday night for that Sunday night sweat?
Yeah, I love Cousins, and he's got two cheap options for wide receivers.
I'll go. I'm going to pair him with Crowder.
Nice.
The crowd goat.
Micah Hyde has been playing slot cornerback for the Packers and just getting killed.
Yes.
All right, a little bit of game stack action. I'm going to take Devontae Adams, thinking that Norman will be on Jordy.
This is good. This is good. How are we doing this? This is awesome. All right.
Now we got David to just completely.
There's just so many ways
with the last.
Yeah,
ruin this.
Oh gosh. What do we want?
We'll go Titans.
I say we let Silva pick the defense, and then you fill in.
Can we do Jordan Reed?
No, screw that. I got it. We go Titans, and we go David Johnson.
Wow, David.
Wow.
You really brought it home.
That
fits
in perfectly.
I was expecting you to screw it up a little bit.
It fits in perfectly.
I was so ready for like an Allen Robinson play or something, just like to ruin it.
DeAndre Hopkins is a pretty good spot this time. He's going to pay off. He's due. All right.
That team is kind of dope, man. Cousins, Procise, Spencer Ware, Devontae Adams, Jamison Crowder, Mike Evans, Martellus Bennett, David Johnson, Titans deep.
Yeah, you could go Reed. You could also go Pierre Garçon's really cheap. And some people have talked about this being a 2 tight end week also on DraftKings. What's your thought on that, Davis?
So I agree with it in the sense that I think Delaney Walker is the lead pass catching option for the Titans. Like he leads them in market share. So if you just didn't ascribe a tight end or a wide receiver positioning to him, yeah, like I think it's fine to play both him and Bennett. But outside of those two, like I don't see. Well, I do really like Reed. So yeah, I would probably never do it myself just because it feels so against all the lineups I've made for the last 4 years or whatever, but I totally see the reasoning for doing it.
Yeah, well, Marty B is probably the best overall option under 4,000.
Yeah.
Regardless of position. Mm-hmm. So I have no problem flexing him.
Okay, let's talk about quarterback on DraftKings. Because DraftKings and FanDuel, I think, are a little different as far as quarterbacks go. Colin Kaepernick does carry some risks for cash games. Who are some other cash game considerations? We just talked about Procise. You've got Baldwin, who's another guy you can pair with Russell Wilson. Like, he looks like he's back. Russell Wilson's only 6,100. Kind of has a gross matchup, but he's only 6,100. He's been playing really well as of late. I don't think there's necessarily any cash game locks, but Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Cap are currently the 3 guys in my queue for cash games. Tuttle, who are some of the guys you're considering?
Yeah, I think all those are fair. We talked about this in a little bit off camera, and it's going to get some negative feedback, but a good on-paper matchup would be Bortles service against Detroit for 5,400 on DraftKings. He probably has a little bit more volatility than you want in cash games, but I think due to matchup and pace of the game, I think he's a fine option.
I'm not going to ascribe my brand to Blake Bortles.
You just have to know that the first 3 quarters are going to be bad for your brand.
Yeah, you just have to know going in that Bortles is going to be really sick.
Terrible.
Makes it better.
Silva?
Cash game quarterbacks.
Yeah,
just DraftKings
on
specifically.
DraftKings specifically because it's the two sites are a little different this week.
So
Right.
it's like,
Right.
I assume you're
so
still on Cousins. Cousins is only 5,800.
Yeah, Cousins.
Yeah,
Would be my
it's
guy.
going to be hopefully fun, not like last week's Sunday night letdown where just like you watch Westworld like when it actually airs instead of after the game. Davis?
I mean, the Patriots deserve to lose that game.
Yeah, they did.
They did. And they did. They lost by, 2 touchdowns, right? They deserved it. At home. To a team that was playing on a short week and traveling across the country.
Cam Chancellor, GOAT. All right, Davis?
Kirk and Tyrod are my guys on DraftKings, Mariota and Luck on FanDuel.
All right, talk
Tyrod,
about Tyrod a little bit.
I mean, he adds 6.6 DK points per game with his legs. So before you even account for a forward pass he's thrown, he's already giving you he's giving you what Jake Cutler did last week with his legs. He's had, I believe, 6 games over 22 DraftKings points thus far. Like the upside that he's shown is not really accounted for by his price tag at all. Like I feel like he might even be a better median play than Cousins, but Cousins can definitely get to 30 here more often than Tyrod can. Like Tyrod would have to kind of have like an 80-yard scramble or something to get to 30.
What
Silva, do you think about Tyrod?
I dig him. I think that the Bengals' pass defense is bad. I think that, everything that Davis said, that he adds, rushing value. He's got a rushing touchdown in 3 straight games. You combine the good pass defense matchup with his rushing ability, and I think it sets up well for him on paper. What do you think his ceiling is, though? He has no playmakers to throw.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he he has to?
He's got to run for at least one to get it to give you an upside.
Yeah. Whereas Kurt can go 350 passing yards, 3 touchdowns.
What are your thoughts on Russell Wilson, Silva? Like, does pace concern you at all in this game, or the Philly defense?
Again, this offense, it seems like it's going to finish like it did last year, to where they are a super, super efficient offense. They're playing legit spread offense with Paul Richardson and Jermaine Kearse and Tyler Lockett and Jimmy Graham and CJ Procise and Doug Baldwin. They have a lot of weapons, man. So I don't think that Philadelphia will. Philadelphia is a good defense, but at this point, I'm betting on the Seahawks offense on a weekly basis, pretty much regardless of opponent. I don't want to play Russell Wilson in cash, but I think he's interesting in tournaments, and I think you play him with Doug Baldwin again against the rookie slot corner Jalen Mills, who just gets torched every week at this point.
What about?
Can I throw out a GPP option and get your guys' takes?
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger.
It's ugly. Eli Manning.
It's not ugly at all. He's been crushing at home every game.
I don't really have a strong take. Seems fine.
Giants aren't running on the Bears either. They've been playing shutdown run defense. It's a funnel situation for a quarterback that's been hot at home.
Not like the Chicago has anyone that can cover Odell.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger also in the mix. He might be an even better GPP play if weather takes people off of Ben Roethlisberger against Cleveland.
Have you guys ever made weather decisions based on weather that worked out? Because that has never happened to me, except for on kickers.
I usually don't react to weather unless we're seeing some huge line movement in the betting markets on the over under. Then I'll probably make a decision. But if I'm not seeing any movement on the over under, I probably won't make a decision on that. The only thing that's kind of worrisome as far as Big Ben and Cleveland goes, if there are sustained wins, is that he derives so much value, and especially in this matchup with downfield plays. Cleveland gives up a ton of long bombs, a ton of long plays. That's where Roethlisberger derives a lot of his value. So if he's kind of shortened up to those shorter routes, then he does lose a decent amount of value, I think, in this spot.
Yeah, Browns have allowed the most 20-plus yard completions in football.
All right, let's move on
I mean,
to
AB
running.
should go nuts. AB should go nuts.
Yeah, I love AB.
Yeah, I agree. And again, people are going to be off of him because of the weather. I don't think it really affects him all that much. Whereas a guy like, well, it used to be Sammy Coates. Don't know who that, Kobe Hamilton or Eli Rogers.
Yeah, that's fair. Now that is kind of fair though. They don't have Coates that they're running downfield. Rogers is more of a possession receiver than anything, so it might play
He's
out.
gonna have Lev running 9 routes.
Oh, they got to have Ladarius Green.
Ladarius G, yeah.
He's going to be the
Minimum salary on DraftKings.
yeah. He's 2,500. You can go he and Bennett and make some fun lineups.
So lit.
Already been experimenting. All right, let's talk about running back. We know ProSize is available on, or he's got a lock on DraftKings. Davis is up in the air about FanDuel, but your other guy, like the other's decision is David Johnson or DeMarco Murray. We had this week a coach say,
Well, no. Wait. No, Le'Veon is the number 1.
right. I'm saying like he's the automatic play.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he's the guy on both sides. Like you're playing Le'Veon. The number 2, if you're not playing ProSize, is going to be either DeMarco Murray or David Johnson, unless you want to get like crazy and play Theo Riddick. But you got David Johnson in kind of a gross matchup at Minnesota. He still has a pretty high floor. DeMarco Murray has a great matchup against Indy, but the offensive coordinator said his toe is hurting him a little more than he's letting on, which kind of is cause for concern, but he already ran for 75 yards, a 75-yard score with that toe injury. Silva, what's your take on DeMarco Murray this week?
I don't like the toe injury, and that's enough for me to just play a different guy. You know, I mean, and I'm not saying that he's a bad play. He's obviously not a bad play, but that's enough for me to say I'm going to use other guys.
It has the feeling that it's going to catch up to him soon, and it's going to be very hard to predict when that's going to be.
I mean, he broke the big run early in the game. It was like the second play, I think, and then he has that freaking
Touchdown pass.
He didn't do anything the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
That touchdown pass was so tilting.
Especially if you didn't have any of them. I mean, it was almost like a fluky big game. It really was. And then the week before that, I mean, he didn't do anything.
Davis, if you play DeMarco Murray over David Johnson, and DeMarco Murray gets 4 points and gets a toe injury, and David Johnson goes off, you're gonna have a really bad.
Oh, I might quit.
You're gonna have a
I
really
might just quit.
bad Sunday. It'll be worse than when Mark Ingram ran for that 75-yard touchdown.
DeMarco has 6 DraftKings points and DJ has I think I might just for that reason alone might not get to play DeMarco just because I'd be so upset.
Yeah, I think you should just take the Silva insurance and roll with DJ. By the way, Silva, did you see Hightower's game last night? I told you he was the play over Mark Ingram. Told you, man.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were 2 weeks ahead.
I was, and 1 week behind. Okay, other running backs. I do think Theo Riddick is a good play, especially on DK, even on FanDuel. With that being said, watch D-Wash just come back. He got 10 carries the game before the bye, so watch him come back and just be the main back. But even so, Theo Riddick's catching passes. LeGarrette Blount, LaShawn McCoy. You mentioned Frank.
Shady is the interesting one.
Yeah,
no one's going to play LaShawn McCoy this week.
Yeah. And Frank Gore. Those are all the options. Tuttle, I'll let you start with some of the running backs that you're on other than the first 3 we talked about.
Yeah, I think Shady is a really good pivot off of some of the higher-owned guys. Should see a monster workload in a good matchup. You mentioned Theo Riddick. I think it is interesting I think he's theoretically a good play. But they did go
theoretically. Tuttle!
Got him.
Tuttle! No, you didn't. Okay, continue.
Theoretically, but they did go away from him in that Minnesota game, so it'll be interesting to see how workload pans out there. I think I'll probably be a little bit more cautious with that situation than others will. And we mentioned Todd Gurley earlier on. I think he's in play for 5,000 on DraftKings.
Don't do this, Dan. This is
He is for 5,000.
Dan.
I mean, there are concerns that Miami will just stack the box and make Goff beat them. But I think with the projected workload he's going to have for $5,000 on DraftKings, he's in play.
And Spencer Ware too. You mentioned him as well, Evan. What are your thoughts on old Spencer Ware this week?
It's really just as simple as he's the focal point of the Chiefs offense. He's going up against a mediocre or worse run defense that has given up over 5 yards per carry over his last 3 games to opposing running backs. And he's favored by more than a touchdown at home, and he's awesome. So that's really all that I need. I mean, I'm surprised that people are not talking about it. I saw Levitan was talking about him. He put him in his leverage column. But I'm surprised that people aren't talking about him. I think that, he's a guy that I want to put in. I have hesitancy, expressing confidence about guys right now, but I think he's a very strong play.
Never hesitate, fella. You got to keep getting shots up. That's the only way you get in rhythm.
I think that you got to take a step back and realize that you don't know everything, and that you don't have everything figured out.
Are you talking about Davis or yourself?
Yeah, when you have bad weeks, you got to go back to the drawing board, don't you think? You got to go to the gym. You got to eat healthy.
Yeah. Well, Davis goes to the gym. I don't know if he goes back to the drawing board. Okay. Davis, your take on running backs this week, as far as the third running back, GPPs, how cash?
Yeah, I think the top group is clearly Bell. Now with this toe stuff, DJ Murray, although I would like another report on the toe injury stuff because I still do think DeMarco is a great play. And then Blunt. Blunt is actually fourth for me. I think this is just a really classic game where his fat carcass just kind of falls forward for 2 yards at a pop, but the couple times that happens to happen near the goal line. McCoy is the guy for me in tournaments. He's 6,900 on DraftKings, and he might be 5% owned or something crazy. I don't think anyone will be on him.
No, he'll be double digits.
All right. What is Zeke's ownership going to be? Because he's I just have never been on him once, and he keeps on going off. I don't think I'm going to have any shares of him again, but is he going to be highly owned?
You used him against Cleveland, right? You used him against Cleveland, right?
I don't know if I did.
Oh my God. What?
I may have played. No. That was the game that I hedged he and Lev Bell, and it was okay, it was a decent. I definitely didn't play him last week though.
Lev Bell was a huge fail that week.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So this week against Baltimore's got a decent run defense, but can anybody
best
stop
run defense in the league?
They're so decent in David's.
Yeah.
World.
But that doesn't necessarily matter for the Cowboys.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So is his ownership going to be up or down is my question. Is he going to be relatively highly owned because by the non-sharps because he just keeps on crushing and his fantasy points per game is up?
He'll have low ownership. People know. And this injury to Jimmy Smith, sometimes what teams will do when they're without their top cornerback is they'll play 2-man, and they'll just put a safety over the top of their bad corner. And then that means that safety will not be up near the line of scrimmage. They may not be able to play. Their run defense may not be as strong as it has been all year in this particular game. That injury to Jimmy Smith is a big deal. It's a big deal, and it makes Bez more attractive, and I think it makes Zeke more attractive. And I don't think people will play Zeke. I think his ownership
is never the chalk, even though he's the best running back.
Right.
And that's what's crazy about it.
Yeah, it is crazy.
All right, let's talk about the wide receiver position. Davis, I want to get your take on wide receiver, especially on a FanDuel point of view. If you're using 2 high-price running backs, obviously tight end, you can go cheap, but that means you've got to go at least 2 cheapies on the wide receiving front. What's your take on this?
Yeah, you have to take Cam Meredith, unfortunately.
No.
And one other guy by the name of Tyreek Hill, 5,400, 13 targets last week, averages.
These are just terrible.
Here we
takes.
go. Here we go.
I mean, people last week said Tyreek was a bad play, and he was like the smash, like best value play of the week.
So if you want to make money, don't listen to these takes.
All right. Well, Davis.
And, I mean, Cam Meredith, like whatever. Like I don't know how you get away from making this play.
The thing,
give me Eli Rogers over Cam
Because
Meredith.
Cutler doesn't throw it to him.
yeah, like the
Ding,
thing
ding,
is,
ding, 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 ding.
Royal or Miller. Oh, someone has
He
to.
likes Royal.
he likes Royal is
Miller's
his
the
boy.
better play.
Yeah,
Miller's the
Royal
best
is his boy going back to the Denver days. If it wasn't for the Hail Mary, Cam Meredith would have had any catches last week. I'm pretty sure that he said
Meredith is a terrible take.
I'm pretty sure.
Does a Hail Mary catch even count as a target? Because if he doesn't have that
No,
Hail
because
Mary,
there's deflection.
if he doesn't have that, you're right. So if he doesn't have that Hail Mary catcher, he has one target last week.
I mean,
Cutler
obviously
hates
we
him.
could be wrong, and he's a good GPP play. But if you're saying to me,
Oh,
Davis,
good hedge, David. Good hedge.
okay, but here's the thing: you're telling me,
Oh, you can't play CJ Procise on FanDuel. You gotta go with high price running back and then Cam Meredith and Tyreek Hill.
That's actually fair. This Dave wins this take easily.
No, because there's a gang of guys you can play down here. Tyreek Hill would be one of them. Corey Coleman would be one of them. Eli Rogers would be one of them. Pierre Garçon would be one of them. Devontae Parker would be one of them. Like they're like.
I think the point is though that you're taking these guys over Procise for.
But it's not. It is not
for-
the
for
same
what
thing
reason?
because no single wide receiver this week projects the same way these running backs do because there's so much variance in wide receiver projection. Like you can say you like Mike Evans straight up more than David Johnson, but in terms of projecting floors and ceilings, the running back wins every time.
but if I can get a guy like AJ Green and Antonio Brown in the
Right.
lineup with Procise on FanDuel, I'm just going to do it. It's just like there's your floor right there, and the upside is there.
Yeah, I mean Antonio Brown and Procise are the equivalent
Procise has a floor too, though, dude. You know?
of DeMarco Murray and
He's a big home favorite running back in like a pretty solid matchup. Who probably.
I mean, we haven't even said Thomas
Rawls.
Rawls.
Four targets.
We haven't even said Thomas Rawls' name on this show yet. Like
What-
he's not even on the injury report.
He hasn't played in 2 months.
He's not
CJ
going to get the
Procise
bulk of the.
hasn't played.
If anything, he's going to be eased into it. That's what they've said. And it's the CJ Procise's week. Like, this is the week you want to use CJ Procise.
On DraftKings for sure. I just
No,
want
and
people to,
FanDuel. It could be Thomas Rawls' week next week or the week after that, but they're not giving Thomas Rawls more than 15 carries this week. I doubt they give him more than 10.
So Davis, just a simple 2v2.
Yes.
No,
the 2v2 is going to look way better for the pros.
no. So
Oh,
you would
get out of
take-
here.
So,
Shocker.
so you would take DeMarco Murray and Tyreek Hill over Antonio Brown and Procise.
The lineup that I currently have saved is Kirk, Bell, DeMarco, Hill, Diggs, T.Y. Hilton,
Diggs?
Brait, yeah,
Why?
Brait, Gold, and Washington. But I need to switch Bennett in there real quick.
They've already said.
so that's a realistic 2v2 based on the lineup you just gave me.
Right.
Because you do have Tyreek Hill and DeMarco Murray.
Or even if you use,
I
like,
mean, Procise and AB.
And then I just play AJ Green. Yeah, my team. This is probably what I'll play in cash.
you're making
I could actually get to Mariota too.
you're making me
probably.
so mad. This is
Like
so-
the thing is on DraftKings or on FanDuel is like the salary is so loose. Like I just want raw points.
all right. You've got Diggs in your cash lineup. I think that's a mistake. As much as I love Diggs, Patrick Peterson is going to be shadowing him. Why would you want to take that risk in your cash games, Davis?
Because Diggs leads the NFL in market share, or is second behind AJ Green in market share over the last 4 weeks. And every game where he's not been listed on the injury report prior, he has at least 10 catches.
All right.
Even if you adjust his yards per target way down, I still think he's probably an easy smash.
Gross. Evan, give us some truth bombs about wide receiver this week. I like Doug Baldwin. Start with him.
Awesome matchup. Increasingly pass first offense. Great player. Awesome player. I mean, Doug Baldwin's real freaking good. So I think he's an awesome play. Davis put Devontae Adams in the DraftKings lineup. He's
He's a great play.
standout play. He's good at football, and we know that now. We have about 8 games on him to where we can feel good now saying that he's good at football. Dante Moncrief, I think, is a really good play this week. He has 8 touchdowns in his last 10 full games played with Andrew Luck. I think T.Y. Hilton is an awesome play in that likely shootout against Tennessee. I love Mike Evans. If you go back and look at all the last 6 games to where the X receiver who tends to run most of the routes on the side of the field that matches up with the right cornerback against the Chiefs, all of them have smashed. Last week was actually the worst out of all of them was Kelvin Benjamin. He had 7 catches for 84 yards. AB crushed it. Michael Thomas had 10 for 130. Amari Cooper had 10 for 130. Allen Robinson had, when he had not done anything for a long time, had 7 for 76 and a touchdown. And Mike Evans is in that spot this week, and he may avoid Marcus Peters on the other side too. And we shouldn't even be worried about Marcus Peters. Do give a 40-yard touchdown catch to Devin Funchess.
Hey, we know he takes he gambles his route of pursuit.
That's right. He takes really bad routes to the ball. So I like all those. I think that A.J. Green is really, really interesting because last year the Bills double-teamed him when they played, and he had 36 yards on 7 targets. But this year, Football Outsiders has the Bills as the dead last against number 1 wide receivers. And A.J. Green is awesome. He's averaging 135 yards per game in home games this year. I know you can't play him at home, but he's averaging 135 yards per game at home, and he has no fewer than 8 catches in all of his home games. And the Bills have serious problems in their secondary right now. They they benched their slot corner, Nickel Roby. They lost their stud free safety, Aaron Williams, for the season. And they're considering benching their left corner, Ronald Darby. And Stephon Gilmore has been atrocious this season. So I think that A.J. Green, I don't think anybody's going to play him this week. And I think he's, every week he's an awesome play.
He was the last guy in both of my he just happened to work in both the FanDuel and DraftKings lineups. And he's a guy that if he's the last piece, you feel okay with just because where his floor is.
And if you want a play where you're like, you know what, if the Bills do double team him like they did last year, Eifert goes off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy Graham and Gronk both went off against the Bills in their last 2 games. And last year when the Bills double teamed A.J. Green, Marvin Jones went nuts, and Eifert was really good too.
Yeah, and the fact that Davis's point, there's variance, there's no sure things as far as receivers. I think that's even more reason why you got to go with the guys that are
all the more reason to invest more cap in the variance. That's what you want.
No, you invest in the guys with a higher floor that are going to get the targets there. But go ahead. Enjoy your 3. And that's wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 spot.
Who's getting a 3? Stefon Diggs getting me a 3, David?
Well, you mentioned Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill he's terrible. What has he ever done?
Just double down, boy. Double down.
He's doubling down on a Chiefs wide receiver.
Hey,
all right.
You guys now agree though that Edelman actually is kind of a thing?
Yeah, he's
because Hogan's out
and wrong.
He was always a thing.
Because he was always a thing. Yeah.
I mean, he's fine. I won't play him, but
all right, fine. Because you can get to
but this is a great week to play him. Though.
Yes,
it is. He's got the narrative too, I guess.
All right, Silva. He's currently a wide receiver 3 option if you use ProSize on FanDuel, but so is Baldwin. So if you could change out defenses, you could get to them both. Would you rather have Baldwin? Do you have a strong feeling about Baldwin or Edelman this week in cash on FanDuel?
That's a tough one.
That's why I asked it.
Play both.
You could definitely play both.
If you play both, you got to go high at quarterback.
Moncrief is also in that range.
Yeah, he is. He is.
I mean, if you can roster Julian Edelman and CJ ProSize, I don't know how you lose. So
Davis, this is so bad.
This is terrible.
This is like the typical. This is like the typical. You're not having a good show from Davis. The annual.
Yeah.
You know what? Silva made a really good point earlier. It's week 11. I'm not going to start counting on guys to turn it on now. Like I'm not waiting for the week 11 breakout. I'm going to play the guys.
So that's why we play Cameron Meredith with Jay Cutler.
Hey, Cam
Because
Meredith is already goaded.
Yeah, with Brian Hoyer.
With Jay Cutler at quarterback, right?
Yeah. He
Wait,
definitely
no.
told Jay Cutler that he preferred low and whatever her face is.
I mean,
Eddie
you
Royal,
want
though.
those 2 target games.
All right. Eddie Royal is in play on DraftKings. Like, you can go cheap. You have to go cheap, I think, at one of the wide receiver spots on DK. You got Eddie Royal. Quentin Patton is another one that you could go cheap at. It's not pretty, but they're going to have to throw the ball. He's going to get some targets. Eli Rogers, like those are some cheapy guys, and even potentially Tyreek Freak. Like that's the highest we'll go as far as like the dirt minimum. Devontae Parker, another one. Any preference there, Tuttle, as far as cheapies?
I don't want to go that low.
Okay.
I'd rather play Eli Rogers.
All right. Eli Rogers at 4,300. Golden Tate's 5,300. On a site like DK, I think he is much better value than FanDuel. Thoughts on Tate, Davis?
Yeah, I actually like Tate. I think that he is sort of an acceptable wide receiver 3-ish type play in this matchup. I mean, he doesn't make it move, but he doesn't make it rescind inside my body either.
Yeah, it's crazy that the flip flop between he and Marvin Jones from the beginning of the season to now. But that's
Marvin Jones was like the best player in football for like 3 weeks, and then
it was the 3 best weeks of JJ Zacharyason's life.
Yeah, I got that 40-point DraftKings game, and I was like, I'm never rostering this guy again because I don't want to fly too close to the sun. Like I was like, I didn't say that.
I kept on rostering.
He made a bunch of plays off like blown coverages, and everybody, thought he was the GOAT.
JJ.
JJ's our friend. All right, let's do a FanDuel lineup really quick. I'll go first, and I'll put in CJ Procise.
On FanDuel?
Yep.
Good play.
Yeah, I think it is. Because there are people out there that won't play CJ Procise.
Good play.
He's only doing that to make Davis mad.
Davis is like, I'm not using this lineup.
We need to make sure we're taking all value guys so Davis doesn't stick us with one of these terrible wide receivers.
Yes, exactly.
With that said, I'm taking Le'Veon Bell.
Nice. Silva?
Dig it. We can't fit in Spencer Ware then, huh?
Well, there's only 2 running backs. We already did Spencer Ware and DraftKings.
Okay.
Spencer Ware is definitely the make it move play from Silva this week, though.
He's a better play on FanDuel,
Mm-hmm.
But let's go with let's go with Eifert.
Ooh, instead of Bennett, little game. I like it.
All right, Mariota. Oh my God! How did we not say Rashard Matthews' name once? He's the play. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go back to wide receiver like 7 minutes ago. Rashard Matthews is like a lock for me.
I don't think his targets are predictable.
No, the targets aren't great, but he's going to score. He scores a touchdown in this game. Official Mattek.
He also has a really good matchup this week because Tajay Sharp's going to get most of Vontae.
Yeah. I meant to. I don't know why that wasn't the. I don't know why Cam Meredith was the first name out of my mouth.
So we've got 3 wide receiver spots open. I'll go with Mr. Doug Baldwin.
David just piling us up with those Seahawk players.
I know we should have taken.
Mean, if you're gonna take one guy against the number 1 defense in DVOA,
you got to take 2.
All right, fine. I'll go.
I mean, we could just move Procise up to where?
Nope.
No, we got no. It's got it. This has to be this. I'll just go all the way up. I'll go all the way up to AJ Green at 8,200.
Whoa! I mean, this is a tournament lineup. We have to. It needs to make sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we going to play Dalton here?
No, we already have Mariota.
Oh yeah, David, like now taking the Eifert and AJ Green.
Well, I forgot about Eifert. I was like, can't take Antonio Brown because we already have Le'Veon Bell. So all right, we'll take Mike Evans then at 8K. There you go.
Total.
What are we doing at defense?
Washington. Playing the it all falls down game for Rodgers. That was a Deadspin piece today about how he's just excommunicated his entire family.
My mentions were on fire today because that screen cap that I posted.
Don't you dare! All right, I'll take Ty.
Hilton's a good play, man.
I like Moncrief a little bit better.
At home in a shootout, they're both awesome plays. They're both awesome.
What?
All right.
It's your turn.
Who's the kicker? Oh, Robbie Gould.
Robbie Gould. It's revenge game.
He's back in the revenge game.
It's the revenge game.
Solid Gold. Oh, I love it.
It's supposed to be like really windy on the East Coast.
It doesn't matter.
Silva, why are you trying to dampen down the revenge game solid gold narrative?
When you're actually, by the way, the best kicker play is totally Janikowski playing at this crazy elevation. He's going to be hit 70 yarders.
No,
like chip
the best kicker play is kicker Gronk this week. Goskowski. That's the best play because they're not going to have any problem.
In the rain.
Here comes. We gave Davis like the perfect price point to take Stephon Diggs with the last wide receiver.
Seriously though, the best kicker play is suck up, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Just making sure.
Last wide receiver. Yeah, definitely going to take Diggs. 6.8.
Gross.
David, I don't know what you think Patrick Peterson is going to do. Like, what do you think? He's just going to jam him off the line and just like
he's going up against Patrick Peterson.
Bella, have you
it's
watched
FanDuel.
Diggs play?
It's FanDuel where it's a half point PPR. It's not full point PPRs. It's half point PPR.
He had like 25 FanDuel points last week without a touchdown.
Right. I mean, I understand he's gotten 14 targets, average 14 targets the past 3 games, but you have to admit for cash games, for GPP, sure, whatever. He gets all the targets.
He's probably a worse GPP play because his touchdown upside is not great.
So why are you playing him? Why are you playing him in cash?
He's the same price as Kenny Britt, dude.
Because you love Sam Bradford? Is that what it is?
No, because I love Stefan Diggs.
Because you have so much love for Sammy freaking B? All right.
Okay, quick tight end takes and we're done.
Yeah, let's do it. We've got
Marty B.
Marty B is obviously the chalk. Let's talk about the
Zach Miller.
Zach Miller would be the second chalk. You've got Delaney Walker also in this Titans game. You got Jordan Reed in the shootout on Sunday night. I feel like on FanDuel, you're not going cheap. On DraftKings, if you want to get crazy, you could go cheap, just not high.
Ladarius scores a touchdown.
Right. Ladarius, like Jason Witten, will tie. Have you looked at his targets? He's getting targets, but it's not. You don't feel good about that play. Lance Kendricks. I will not roster Lance Kendricks for the rest. I don't care if he gets like 80 points this week. I will not roster Lance Kendricks. Silva, any tight end takes? Silva's on the phone. Tuttle, any tight end takes?
No, was Lance Kendricks last week? I can't even remember. No, that was the week before, right?
No, it was last week.
Yeah, it was last week. Oh my god.
It was terrible.
I think that's the worst play I've ever made.
It was bad. It was only bad if you went 100% like some people did me.
Well,
I went 100%.
Retrospectively, like we were okay. How did we not double think playing Lance Kendricks?
Not one person. Not one person
was like, "Oh no, he's not a lock."
He had 2 games in a row with a lot of target. 3 games in a row.
No, he had a bunch of games in a row. I mean, he had like 5 or 6.
And he got hurt. To be fair, he got hurt.
I mean, he still saw like 85% of the snaps.
Yeah, he came right back in.
Nobody was like, "Hey guys, this is Lance Kendricks."
Hey guys, maybe roster anyone else. Jason Witten.
Maybe a Rams player, maybe 100% on a Rams player isn't a good idea. But Davis wants to go all in on Diggs with.
Oh, what is your deal, dude?
All right.
This is going to be so much worse than the pro size take.
No, your pro size take was like, it might be one of the all-time bad takes of this season of the Swolecast.
I'm going to have him 100% on DraftKings.
Okay, great. Well, then you're going to have a good time on DraftKings.
All right, close the show, David.
You're going to have a good time on DraftKings. You're going to have a terrible time.
Are we not even going to mention Delaney Walker?
I already said Delaney. He was my third guy.
Delaney Big Dick Walker.
All right. Just making sure.
Delaney should have been, it's a forward-thinking show, but I don't want to place any blame. But Silva, you should have told us that Delaney made it move last week because it would have been a really fun week with Delaney instead of Lance Kendricks.
That's literally all you had to play was Delaney Walker, and you were printing money.
Yep.
If you played Mariota and Delaney Walker, you're riding in a new whip this week.
You at least bought a new moped.
All right. That will do it for the Week 11 Swolecast. Again, you can go to fantasyinsiders.com/plans, enter promo code PLATINUM for $20 off. And that can be off whatever plan that you want it to be. Also, thanks to Evan Silva from RotoWorld. You can find his weekly matchups column over there on RotoWorld at Evan Silva on Twitter. Davis's column, the Automatic Absolutes on Fantasy Insiders, and Tuttle's takes. Not Tuttle's terrible takes. It's just Tuttle's takes.
No, it's Tuttle's terrible takes.
Who is your terrible take this week?
Oh, you don't even want to hear it.
Oh, let's hear it, man.
It is brutal.
I feel like
it's
somehow
like,
worse than Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
So remember when I had the James White take and I said to take him in like 2 out of 150 lineups?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a guy that you might accidentally put in a lineup.
All right, give us the position.
150.
Give us the position, and we each get one guess to guess who it is.
A wide receiver from the shootout of the week.
Dorsett.
Yep.
Oh!
That's my terrible take of the week.
He's not that bad, dude. He's not that bad.
Somehow when Tuttle recommends him, it's okay. And then I recommend him and he leads the Colts in receiving, and it's like the worst of all time.
Because I say it's a horrible take. Because it's a horrible take, it is. But the Roman one lineup.
I thought it was going to be like a Malcolm.
I think he's just in one of those situations where, like, if you're running luck, and you want like a cheap wide receiver to play, I mean, I think you run him, dude. I mean, I don't think he's going to get a lot of Parrish Cox, and he's fast.
I mean,
that's it.
When you get a lot of Cox, there's nothing bad about that. That's what I always say. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week, Week 12, here on Fantasy Insiders, or you can go to swolecast.com. We'll see you later.